Hello Ajoy and Jenny, welcome to the third episode of CERC TV. First of all, how are you guys doing?
Good.
That's great. So in this episode, we will actually be talking to all the fitness freaks out there who are actually wondering what is an ideal weight that they have to maintain, and to probably all the non-fitness freaks as well who are actually wondering what an ideal weight for a healthy human is, and also tips on weight reduction and things like that. So why don't you start off by telling us what is an ideal weight for a healthy human?
Do you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. So I think traditionally, if you want to find your ideal weight, probably if you Google it, you'll find the BMI or the body mass index, and that's what we as doctors have been looking at as the ideal weight for years and years, I guess. So you can calculate it easily online, but it will also be available on our CERC app when it is officially launched. But for now, you can Google it. So basically, you need your height and your weight. And the ideal BMI for anyone is between 18 and 25. So BMI does not matter whether you're male or female, but BMI we actually think is kind of an archaic way to measure if you're the ideal body weight. So it definitely does not take into account muscle mass. So if you actually look at a bodybuilder or a sumo wrestler, they would be categorized as obese. They'd have a very high BMI because they have a lot of muscle. Muscle weighs more than fat. So it's hard, BMI is kind of a good starting point, but you have to look at other factors. So what we like to look at is your body fat percentage, which takes into account whether you're male or female, and some other factors as well. So, for example, a normal body fat percentage for males is between 20 and 25%, and for women between 25 and 31%. So you can see just genetically or, evolutionarily, women have more body fat, unfortunately for us. But anyway, so we like to look at that as a better judge of if you're a healthy weight.
So I want to add one more thing, and that is, even though our app, the upcoming app that we keep talking about, has the BMI, but we don't reveal the BMI because we don't think that BMI is really needed for the end user. End user really is interested in how much fat they have. So you will see in the app your percentage fat, and for that the calculations are slightly different, but we do consider the BMI to a very small extent, but the majority of our emphasis is really going to be looking at body fat index. So keep that in mind, and there are again calculators for it, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's roughly correlates to BMI. Either one of them you can calculate out.
Yeah, that's a good place to start, a good rule of thumb.
Yeah. So now that we're actually talking about fitness, why don't you tell us how important is to stay fit? Like, what are the positive sides to stay fit? Obviously, mental strength is one of those, but physically, how much changes can you actually observe? I actually want Ajay to take one of these examples that you told, that he's having some pain here and he's started working out and found that it is without it.
Yeah. So one of the things that we've noticed is that it's not just about when you exercise, what happens is your circulatory system is running really into overdrive. Your skeletal system is in overdrive, your muscular system is on overdrive, everything is in overdrive right now. Hormones are in overdrive. So what happens is it's almost like a flushing system. So it just any kind of any nutrients get to the right place, any toxins come out of the places. So for example, if there are if you have muscle aches and stuff like that, the toxins that are built up, the lactic acid and all that is built up can be flushed out because you are exercising. I remember our gym guy instructor would always tell us, one day he would kill us with a lot of the muscle exercise, and the next day we would not want to go. He would call and say, no, you come in because I'll show you what you need to do. And he would just make us get on the treadmill, slow treadmill, just constantly for about an hour, and he say, okay, now go home. And we would feel a lot better because all the lactic acid and all from the muscles have come out. So that's one of the things. The other issue is in just like I said, for toxins removal, wound healing. Okay, so I've noticed that very, very recently I had a sinus infection that was not going away at all, and we were about to she was about to put me on an antibiotic, and I said, I'm not sure if I want to go on an antibiotic. And at that point in time, I restarted my exercise a little bit more vigorously, and I noticed that because of the fact that all my circulatory systems were really in overdrive, it must have cleaned out whatever gunk was there in my sinuses, and it was gone.
So now that we're actually talking about fitness, I have a few questions related to that. So we actually addressed the fact that there are many ways to stay fit. One is probably doing some home workout. One is going to the gym. One is going for a walk in the morning and doing some exercises there. But let's talk about the gym membership that is so hyped up. Is it actually necessary to have a gym membership in order to stay fit? What do you guys think about it?
So I think maybe one of the few good things that came out of COVID is that it's taught us and hopefully others that you do not need to physically go to a gym to stay fit. There's been a plethora of YouTube videos and other free accounts where you can stay fit at home without any fancy equipment. You don't need dumbbells. You know, you can do what we call body weight exercises and get just as much benefit as, you know, lifting weights. Of course, going to the gym is excellent if you're able to, but, you know, there's so much available to us at home. And we actually will be on our app also, and now on our website, we have some examples of easy exercises that you can start today if you want to. Most important thing is to try and get your body moving at least 3 times a week for at least 30 to 45 minutes. That's key more than anything else.
The advantage of a gym is that somebody will be pushing you. So if you have that discipline to get pushed by yourself, or just set up a timer saying, okay, you know what, every week I'll start once a week and I'll just do 10 minutes. You know, when you think about it, and I know you will see a lot of our videos talking about this, my video especially, where we're talking about 5 minutes. Just start with 5 or 10 minutes of exercise and say, okay, I'm done. You know, I don't want to do any more exercise. That's fine. Because once you get into that habit, that 5-10 minutes will turn to longer duration. That's one. The second, like Jenny was saying, that we have a lot of videos on YouTube, and you can also buy bands and small weights for yourself, and that should also help.
Okay, so why don't we conclude with you giving us 5 tips about weight reduction, 5 tips to stay fit. So thank you first.
Okay, so I was going to say, you said 5 tips for weight reduction and staying fit. So this is something that we've been saying to people many times over, and this is like one of my passionate subjects, and I'll try not to ramble on. First thing is, we have to delineate weight reduction and staying fit. Weight reduction is 90% or 70-80% is your diet. Staying fit is exercise. So when you want to reduce your weight, don't look at exercise first, look at your diet first. For staying fit, absolutely look at your exercise, and of course diet to some extent, because you want to eat healthy stuff. So that's the first thing, right? So you want to give another one?
Yeah, I think I alluded to in the previous question, trying to do it at least a couple times a week, and Ajoy also mentioned kind of building yourself up to it. So don't be discouraged if you can only exercise for 5 minutes, that's okay. Just get to your goal of 30 to 45 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. That's what we as doctors recommend. So that's number 2. And that's whether it's weights or cardiovascular exercise or strength training, that sort of thing. I think the third thing is make sure your exercise regimen has a good combination of both strength and cardiovascular. Cardiovascular meaning running or walking fast or swimming. It's especially important for women. I think women don't realize that we really need strength training. Not only does it help reduce body fat, but it actually helps strengthen the bones, which is very important to prevent thinning bones or osteoporosis.
One other thing to add to her thing for tip number 2 actually is flexibility in yoga. So just keep that in mind. That was tip number 3.
Yeah, I guess so. Number 3. Ajoy also kind of mentioned it earlier. Good dietary habits and good exercise go hand in hand. When you eat better, you have more energy, and that gives you more motivation to exercise. Goes that way, and then the pendulum swings the other way. When you exercise, your metabolism goes up. You crave more food, and a lot of times, if you're already eating healthy food, you crave more healthy food. So that makes your exercise more effective and more long lasting for weight reduction.
Right.
So tip number 4 is actually, I'm going to steal her tip, which is what she's always passionate about, and sometimes I'm also guilty of not doing it. Drinking a lot of water. If just you can try this experiment. Don't drink much water and start exercising, and you'll find that you're a lot more tired. Drink 2 glasses of water just before you exercise. I don't mean seconds before you exercise. I mean like 15-20 minutes before you exercise, and you will find at least a 20% increase in your strength, because all the cells are nicely hydrated and they're ready to go. And I've noticed that consistently this happens. Tip number 5.
So tip number 5 is, I think, more of a practical everyday tip, and we'll just, as usual, use ourselves as an example. We understand it's very difficult to fit exercise into your already busy schedule, but there's a couple tips we have. One is, just like planning your meals, plan your exercise. Say, okay, on Wednesday from 7:30 to 8:30, I'll be exercising, or whether that's morning or night. So that's one thing. The other thing that I like to do is, if I'm intending to exercise at home, right in the morning itself, I change into my exercise clothes. So that way, I'm almost forced and pressured by myself to not waste those clothes and actually truly exercise. So that's just making a plan and making time, because if you look at your whole day, you truly can fit it in, and it's important for your health and for those around you.
Whoa, that's. I think that's actually pretty. The tips that I've given are actually pretty useful to someone who's actually starting off. So thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a great episode. In the further episodes, we'll talk about more fitness stuff, and then we'll bring in about whey protein and talk about how it can cause problems, how it can be beneficial, and all of those. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you all again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.